Listen to this episode if you have a fear of judgment, showing your face, what people are going to say, or if you already have people in your life that have expressed that they don't support the business that you are building. Today, we are having a cozy little chat about fear of judgment or what other people's opinions are of you and your business and how to really tackle when this is a major problem with people that are in your life. Today, we're really sitting on in here. I might even crack a nice little bubbly, meaning a sparkling water. Ready? And we're just going to sit and have a nice little girl chat, pep talk, all about this topic. A little sipski. And so funny. I don't know. I was never a sparkling water person. Now I'm obsessed with them. But when we talk about this fear, this is a very real fear. I am so incredibly sorry if you do have people in your life that are already expressing that they don't either believe in you or they don't want you to go down that path. They feel like you should have a corporate job or a real job or whatever that kind of sounds like in your world. I just want to preface this. I have very little notes. Honestly, I don't even think I need this because I don't really have notes on it. I really just want to chat and really raw and real and genuine business conversation here around the fear of judgment, how to really work through this and what it really means. First things first, I think anybody that you do talk to about this, anybody that you talk to in business is going to have some story out there of somebody that told them that, either made bad comments or that they shouldn't be starting the business that they're starting or have something out there, myself included. I was just listening to, her name is Lucy Guo or something like that, I believe her name was. She is the first or the youngest self-made billionaire as a female self-made billionaire in the world. And her parents, she said her parents basically exiled her for a couple of months and wrote her off because she dropped out of college and decided to pursue running her own business instead. And she said my parents were really hard on me and they didn't think I should do it. I opened up my spam on my email and it was just emails from my dad of saying to go back to corporate or I should go back to college. I need to do all of these things. Even some of the most successful people in the world, literally the youngest self-made billionaire. She was a billionaire at 30 years old. And she literally was told at one point that she shouldn't be a business owner and she needs to go back to the more traditional lifestyle as well. And so we're going to talk about this today. Before I dive in, I just want to say hi in case you're new here. Hello, my name is Madison Page. I am a business growth specialist. I am the host of the Small Business Growth Podcast, and I teach small business owners how to turn their business into a brand so they can really reach their potential and become that big premium name that they really want to be, that household name known across all of the country, across all of the globe, whatever that really looks like for you. We put out new episodes every Tuesday and Friday. Today is a fun pep talk style episode. We talked about the fear of failure or just fears in general. I think it was a couple of weeks ago on the podcast and you guys really loved that one. So I wanted to bring this here as well. I have a couple of different styles of these. You can either type in listen to this if, or you can type in pep talk, and both of those will kind of bring up some of these kind of style of videos where we're really just sitting and having an honest conversation. So I just want to say, I had plenty of people say some crazy stuff to me, and I am coming from a family full of business owners. I am coming from a family full of entrepreneurs. My circle is full of entrepreneurs. I was running my family's business at 12, 14. I am surrounded by business owners. And my family didn't really say this. It was a lot more of my friends. I got the average, do you really think that that's something that you can do forever? Or one of my ex-best friends said, what are you going to do when your business fails? Was something that she said to me when I was just starting my business. She was really talking to me about my plan B and what am I going to do when my business fails and how am I going to come back from that? And we all have these elements of judgment across the board. I think everybody has that. I also am somebody that early on in my business, if you don't know my story, I had a sustainability blog in college, and that was really where I got my start with selling products. I sold a bunch of products online, different kind of sustainable products, and I started and nobody really wanted to buy from me. Nobody was doing it, but in that same time, I also was really afraid of what people were going to say when they saw my blog. I didn't want to show my face. I was kind of like an OG influencer. This was before influencing was really a thing, and I didn't know what to do. Like I didn't want people to see, I didn't want my friends to see, I didn't want my family to see me like trying at this thing. I didn't want my face all over it, but like who is going to be a faceless influencer? Those things are like pretty hard to come by. You have to really make up for it in so many different ways that it was just making everything harder. And I remember when I first started to like inch my way into showing my face and like getting judged by that I had people screenshotting my profile and sending it to me and being like, is this you? And I would be like, no, they found me. Like, oh my gosh, what are they going to say? What are they going to do? And so I share these different instances to tell you, like, you are not alone here. And there are still times, not anymore, I don't really care about anything at this point, but there were still times. I remember just a few years ago when my now fiance's mom followed me on Instagram, and like his whole family started following me on Instagram. His whole family watched my TED Talk, and I was kind of like, who? Like, what are they thinking? What are they saying? You know, there's always like that underlying element of like who's watching, what's going on. And in business, we have to think about, especially in modern day business. Now, every founder doesn't need to be at the forefront of every brand. Every brand doesn't need to have this like founder-led face of the brand. It makes everything easier. However, just going all in on a business in and of itself, whether that's quitting your job or investing in something or really just like starting the business in general, can feel like a big push. Like you're going all in, you're really betting on yourself. And so it brings up a lot of these fears. And for some, it's, you know, what if it doesn't work out? For some, what are people going to say? What are my friends going to think? You know, what happens if I outgrow my friends and my family that are around me? Like, what are all of these what ifs? But I think today I really want to talk about having people that either don't support you or having this fear of judgment, because a lot of times the fear of judgment of like, what are people going to say? Who's going to talk about it? What is my family going to think? All of that little chatter comes back to this idea that people are not going to support you. And I have never felt this, and I've been very grateful inside of my family because my parents were entrepreneurs. My dad owns his own financial advisory practice, and my uncles were entrepreneurs. My grandparents were entrepreneurs. Like I knew at 12 years old, I already had businesses at 12 years old. Like I knew I was going to be an entrepreneur because I was surrounded by it. So it wasn't really my family, but I have colleagues and I have friends that quit their 9-to-5 job and didn't tell their families for months. I have friends that, you know, were really nervous to tell their family that they were starting a business because of all of these different pieces. I mean, I have a lot of people in my life that have no idea what I do because they are just like so mesmerized by the corporate lifestyle, and that's all that they really know. And a lot of times they're like, how do you get paid? Like, you know, what is your business? Like, what do you really do on your day to day? And like, people just don't really grasp this idea. And there's always going to be this element of judgment behind everything. I had a client that said the other day that she didn't realize how much of, you know, she invested to work with me. I'm working with her inside of my product to profit program. And she didn't realize how much of her business growth was going to require personal growth. And she said, you know, I just didn't realize that it was going to have so much of my insecurities popping up. There was going to be so much of me feeling like I have to do this and I have to do that. And like, you know, I have to push myself through this thing and I have to show my face and like, what is my family going to say? And I have a lot of these questions around my head. So I wanted to bring you kind of what I told her here is first things first is I think everybody has this element that nobody expected to like plaster themselves all over the internet. I think people inch by inch get there. Some people don't care at all. Some people, you know, it takes a long time. I frankly was never somebody that I thought that I would really like plaster my face, my voice, my name, like everything all over the internet as much as my career has now made me do. However, it is what has allowed for me to have the career that I have. I am so incredibly grateful for social media and a podcast and the internet to be able to bring me this business that I have and this life that I have, that even if it's uncomfortable, that in the beginning, like I try to kind of bring myself back to the beginning, because now I'm at this point in my business that I believe in what I have. I know the results that I get to people. I know the confidence that I can bring forward. I know that I'm providing value. I know that my business is valid. I mean, you can't look at anything what part of my business. Yeah, I've given a TED Talk. I've helped 500 plus business owners. I'm seeing the results and the impact on a day-to-day basis. What can somebody say that is going to really take that away from me? And nothing. Not a single thing, because someone can tell me I'm stupid and what I'm saying doesn't work. And I'm like, all right, let me just go show you 10 examples of how it does. You know, I can have somebody tell me that, you know, what I'm doing is not a real job, and I can show them my P&L and be like, hey, yeah, it kind of actually is. I've been in business for 5+ years, whatever. You know, you can kind of get to this point where you have enough evidence to prove the negating people wrong. You can prove these, you know, people, the haters, for lack of a better word, wrong. However, before you have that, it's really hard to go all in on it when you do have these what ifs and these fears and this like possibility that it's not going to work out. And I want to really reframe this whole fear of judgment, fear of like, failure, fear of all of this to being like, well, what does this mean about them if they were to judge you? What does this mean about them? Do you actually feel like if they haven't actually judged you yet, what version of them are you creating in your own head that you feel like they are going to judge you for this? You are basically projecting negative beliefs onto them and then projecting it back onto yourself and saying, I am not going to take action because of this hypothetical way that somebody might react. Or you're looking at it and saying, how does this impact them that I am chasing my dreams? It doesn't. What does it mean about them? Because there's two different angles here. First things first is if we are projecting this onto them and you don't have any evidence of judgment yet, and you're just afraid of judgment, in my opinion, what you're doing is you're saying, I'm afraid that these even hypothetical people are going to have these hypothetical emotions, then putting that back onto yourself. I would honestly ask, why do you feel that those people or just people in general might judge you? And how is that going to impact you? How does it matter to you? And why are we making that version of that person out there? On the other side of it, we look at these people that might have already made some of these comments to you. I would recommend just having a good comeback or two to any comment that you have. I mean, you can come up with whatever you want, but, at your Uncle Steve saying, how's your little business doing? Or like, are you still really doing that little business thing? Have some sort of comeback of some kind that's tasteful, that's sweet, and that's also kind of no, this is like a very valid business. This is something I'm really excited about. That's usually my reaction, is being like, yeah, I've been in business 6+ years. I've worked with 500+ business owners, and it's something I'm really excited about. And I love what I do every single day. And that's really all that matters. It doesn't matter how much money I'm making, even though I am making money. It doesn't matter how much money I'm making. It matters that I'm in a fulfilling job. That is really the point, that a lot of this projection is also coming from these other people onto you. These people are out there judging you, and they're out there hating their life at their own job, or they're out there stuck at their 9 to 5 that they've never really liked and still trying to find something. So you have to think about this being the case that, of course, it's not to everybody hates their job, but a lot of this projection onto you is a belief that they have deeply instilled into them that doesn't actually mean that it's fact. Maybe your parents are really not happy that you are pursuing your business full time. They think you should have stuck with your safe job. They think that you should be in a corporate job. I understand that you're not going to be like, well, that is just you because you hate your job and going out there. But we do have to look at that as like, what are their beliefs that they are projecting onto you? Is there actual validity behind it? Sure. They're trying to keep you safe. They're trying to keep you kind of comfortable. However, we also have to look at safety and comfortability as something that really holds a lot of people back. A lot of people are adverse to taking risks and getting outside of that comfort zone because they are afraid of what that might be. So we have to look at these people making these comments and judging you and, whatever that might be, and saying, what does this mean about them? Because it doesn't mean anything about you. There are so many case studies out there of people that either had people that didn't expect for them to be as successful as they are, and they proved them wrong. So many people that had, bad comments and their parents didn't want them to do this, and then they proved them wrong and they were able to pay off their house and do all of these things. Your parents, just like anything else when you were in high school, and they were like, no, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. They're trying to kind of guide you into those areas, but there's always going to be somebody that has something to say. And I think we really have to look at a lot of those comments. A lot of that judgment is outside of you. And at the end of the day, we have to sit back and say, are we willing to allow other people's beliefs, other people's emotions, and other people's comments keep us in a stuck, stagnant place where we are never actually able to reach the potential that we really have, or to be able to chase the thing that we really want to chase, or, do the thing that's really heavy on our heart? Are you willing to allow other people to dictate your actions enough that you never actually chase this? Hey, I'm jumping in here for 30 quick seconds for those of you listening and thinking, all right, but how do I actually apply this to my business? Every week here, I share strategies, case studies, growth mistakes to avoid, but your business growth is nuanced, so your business support has to be nuanced as well. That's why all of my support includes me inside of your business, your ideas, your launches, your content, perfecting what you're already building and uncovering your hidden opportunities to scale. This isn't a cookie cutter course. It's a high level personalized support system to help you optimize your brand, your strategy, and every single person your business touches. If you want my eyes and my brain on your branding, your sales, your marketing, and your overall growth plan, click the link in the show notes to apply. Let's see what we can build together. There's so much perspective that we can add into this when we're really looking at it, that any judgment from somebody else is just judgment that is projected onto you. It doesn't actually mean that you have to accept it, and B, that there's any validity behind it. Something that I said very early on in my business is the people that matter don't mind, and the people that mind don't matter. Meaning the people that have anything to say probably aren't ahead of you or achieving the things that you really want to achieve, so it doesn't really matter. Or the people that matter will not mind. The people that are going to be in your corner and supporting you will not mind that these are the things that you're doing. Again, I understand there's some complications when it's your husband or your parents or whatever that might look like for you, but we have to understand that we are a combination of the people that we spend the most time with, right? We hear that, it's regurgitated at us all day long. That doesn't mean that we don't spend time with those people. It means that we have to have people in your corner that are telling you that these goals that you have in front of you are incredibly possible. And this is honestly how I consume podcasts. I don't really consume podcasts for more information and things like that. I consume podcasts for perspective. I consume podcasts to be in rooms, quote unquote, virtual rooms with people that have already achieved what I am trying to achieve, and to be surrounded by that level of like-mindedness. These people are talking about AI and investing and big time corporations and VCs and all of that. And I want to hear and absorb that information. So when I'm in those rooms, it feels incredibly natural to me. And so if you don't have these people in your life that you feel like do not mind that you are chasing these big goals and these big ambitions, whether it's you want to be rich or you want to have this thing global, whatever that might be, those opinions we have to almost put to the side. If you would not take business advice from this person, is this somebody that you want to take their judgment on? A lot of these people that are going to judge you, and I think another really great quote that we hear is, nobody that has achieved what you're trying to achieve is going to judge you in the growth process. Just like no influencer is judging somebody just starting out. No millionaire is judging a startup founder that has just launched their business, because they've been there, they know what it's like, and they can see that it's possible for you. And this is why this fear of judgment makes me so angry when I hear how many people really feel worried about putting their face out there, or, really going all in on their goals or what people are going to say. It's because it's holding you back from the life that you really want to live. And I see your business and I see it being so incredibly possible for you. I see it being something that is so incredibly possible for you to achieve. I have seen it happen dozens, hundreds of times, that people have an idea similar to yours and they relentlessly chase it. They're unapologetic behind it and they achieve it. But I've also seen it dozens of times where people have this idea that's great and they never fully go for it. And that is actually more heartbreaking for me than most things, is because you have basically living with this untapped potential. And to me, my biggest fear is untapped potential. My biggest fear is having this idea and these dreams and never actually being able to achieve them. My fear is that people out there have these life-changing products, or this product that would be life-changing for them, or these ideas that are so wonderful, these missions that are so heartfelt, and they never have the guts to actually go all in on it because they are so nervous about what all of these other people are thinking. They can say anything that they want to from the comfort of their job that they probably aren't overly happy in, or from the comfort of their safe life that they've never taken any risks on. They can say all of these things, but at the end of the day, it's you that has to be able to live with the fact that you were not able to get over that fear of judgment, so you hold yourself back. You never reach that potential. And to me, whether that's a toxic belief or not, your girl doesn't know. We can take that up with a therapist. Who knows. However, what we have to do here is we have to realize that being unapologetic is what we're looking for here. I think a lot of people are like, well, let me just be delusional. I hate the word delusion because it's rooted in the fact that you already feel like it's something that's out of your grasp. We're not trying to be delusional. We're trying to be unapologetic. And the people that matter don't mind, and the people that mind don't matter. Because the people that have achieved what you were trying to achieve are not going to judge you for starting and trying as well, because they see the possibility. They see that it's possible. They see that it is an actual reality that you can achieve if you're willing to keep on going for it. And I think there's a big piece of business is that the people that are willing to overcome their fears and do it anyway, no matter if it's a fear of failure or a judgment or a success or whatever that really looks like, the people that are able to consistently push through fears are the ones that are going to win, because the average person is not willing to push through those fears. But we are not trying to be average. Your goals are above average. You want to make $100,000 a year. You are already in the top 8% of female business owners. That is that goal. If you're trying to make 100,000, only the top 7% of business owners actually make $100,000 a year. Female business owners make $100,000 a year in their business, which means if you have the goal of being a six-figure business owner, you have to act in that top 7%. You have to take action that the other, 93% of people are not willing to take in order to get there. So if you want to have above average life, if you want to have an above average reality, business, life, whatever that is, you have to take above average action. And that is really what we're trying to get at here, is that the judgment is not worth you staying where you are at the end of the day. This judgment, what is it about the judgment that is so crippling? And I think another great thing to ask is, what is the worst case scenario? Let's say your video goes mega viral, and it goes onto the total wrong side of the internet. Everybody from your high school has seen it. Oh my gosh, your hometown, your family, your spouse's family, whatever. Everybody you knew has seen this video, and you have people judging you. Maybe worst case scenario, you have somebody that sends it to you that they meant to DM it to actually their friend, and it says, wow, look at her starting this silly little business. What is the worst case scenario there? That person looks like the biggest meanie head in the world? That person looks like they are willing to judge you for trying to chase a dream? The biggest, what if, worst case scenario there is that other people show their true colors, that they are not supporting you. And that is really nothing to do with you. The worst case scenario is that you get a DM and it might kind of be a hit to the ego a little bit. Well, you know what you have? You have fuel to prove them wrong. All of the people that made any comments to me are either stuck in a job that they hate, in the exact same spot of where I left them, or they're no longer in my life and I truly have no idea where they are. And that doesn't mean that that's what you have to do. Again, if it's your family, if it's your spouse, it's complicated, right? It's not as black and white as somebody that's in your life. But truly, a lot of the people that gave some sort of judgment to me around my business are people that are no longer in my life because they were friends of some sort, where they weren't my family. And I can understand the complication if it's your family or if it's your spouse. What I would like to recommend in one of those situations is really getting into rooms that normalizes this. Because when I started my business, I got into masterminds, I got into rooms, I got into circles. I flew across the country to go to dinners with people strictly because I wanted to be around people that have achieved the goals that I wanted to have, because I wanted it to be normalized. There is so much conversation around high cash months and people making $1 million or $5 million or whatever, $50,000 months. And I just wanted to be surrounded by it, where I was like, oh yeah, it's very possible, because all of these people that are very similar to me are also doing it. And that is what I would recommend for you. Get in circles where you are going to have people support you. Find your ride or die business owner, that biz bestie friend. And before you have that, find somebody. And this can be, I would love to be that person for you. You can have this podcast, go into my free podcast community, asking people there, utilize people that are also chasing big goals and big dreams, because people that are also chasing these big goals and big dreams will not judge you. They will not judge you for it, because either A, they're also doing it, B, they've already done it, and they see that it's possible for you as well. If you are feeling crippled by this, I recommend you take baby steps. Some people really go all in, and that's great. And I wish that that could be for you. And I know that that's not possible for the average. I want you to take baby steps, whether that is taking your favorite photo of yourself and introducing yourself on your Instagram this week, or just being able to make a connection with somebody, or starting to listen to this podcast every single morning so it can start to be more normalized in your brain that the level of business that you want to have is possible. Whatever that might be, I want you to start making one action this week to try to overcome this fear of judgment, whether that's showing your face, whether that is, showing up in spite of all of the comments that you've made, trying to, really to prove them wrong, use it as fuel, whatever that works for your competitive edge, your soul, your brain, however that really works for you. But I want this week for you to start taking some sort of action on it. And then next time, whether it's you come up with your one go-to kind of comeback if somebody says a line, if you're going to dinner with your uncle or your aunt or your friends or something like that, we have to sit back and we have to say, okay, what can I say that is tactful and kind and sweet, but also tells them that my business is just fine and I'm excited about it. We can make them feel like, wow, who am I to judge that? Maybe that was a comment that I shouldn't make. Maybe that is the one action you need to take, is come up with what that line is. But when it comes to judgment, we have to think about, who would we take advice from? Who would we trade lives with? Who has achieved what you were trying to achieve? And are those the people that are judging you? Who are the people that are judging you? And are they doing the things that you want to do? Do they have a life that you want? Do they have a fulfillment level that you really want? What does all of that look like? And a lot of times we can look at it and say, you know what? I wouldn't want to trade lives with them. And that's okay. Even if it's your dad, even if it's your mom, that you wouldn't want to trade lives with them. And that is okay. And again, it means a lot more about them than it means about you, because all you are trying to do is chase a dream, create a better reality than the reality that you have, and to build something that you are so dang proud of and you are so incredibly fulfilled in. And sue me if that has some judgment around it, because there is no need for judgment in that circle. There is no need for judgment in something that you can unapologetically chase and that you can absolutely achieve. I see business owners every day, and I'm sure they are just like you, just like who you are, in a similar stage that you are, and then they've reached that next milestone. They didn't think that they could. They were nervous to do it, whatever that really looks like. They were nervous, they had fears, and then they do it anyway. That is why I can sit here and I can say, I know that it's possible for you. That's why I can sit here and I can say, I know that this is something you can achieve, because I've seen it done 100 other times. I've seen it done hundreds of other times, because there is so much evidence around you not being any different than those other people that have already achieved it, other than the action that they had to take in between getting from where you are to where they are. I just wanted to send this over to you because I know that somebody out there, even if it touches one of you and it was helpful, I wanted to send this over to you. Take one action this week, something that really proves yourself wrong, to have something tangible that you can really go and that you can chase for this level of judgment around things. And always go back, do I want to trade lives with them? Would I take business advice from them? What does this say about them? Always go back to those questions. And then at the very least, what is the worst case scenario if that fear comes true? You go back and get another job, get a job that is what they're doing anyway, right? Right. Kind of savage, but that's the reality of it, right? And so just know that what you are aiming for is so incredibly possible. When I say I'm in your corner and I'm rooting for you, I truly mean it. I say it because I know some people don't hear it. And I know that some people are out there not getting that level of encouragement and positivity in their circle. Find people that will support you. It doesn't mean you need to find better people, but you do need to have some people in your life that are within the world of having big dreams. And if you don't have that, be in circles, on podcasts, groups, communities, things like that, until you find it. I love you. I'm rooting for you. I'm in your corner always. And I will chat with you in the next episode. If you found today's episode helpful and are looking for more tangible ways to grow your business, make sure you are subscribed to the show. If you want to dive deeper into this topic more, click the link in the show notes and join our completely free podcast community, where we dive into every single podcast topic, as well as give some bonus support and free coaching calls. And finally, if you are interested in getting my eyes on your business to find your hidden opportunities to scale, apply to work with me one-on-one in the show notes, notes or on our website. Remember, it's not enough to listen. Don't forget to implement too. I love ya. I'll see you in the next episode.